Hello. Oh my gosh, I've missed you guys. Welcome back. Come on, let's hear you. Let's hear you. You know you want to hear from this group over here, so I'm going to get my, he's going like this over here. I appreciate you. I'm going to get the housekeeping out of the way here. My name is Amber Cox. I'm the Vice President of Sports here at Mohegan Sun. Any first-timers here with us tonight? Oh, a few. Welcome. Well, this is a lot of fun and a great event that really kicks off, especially after the draft last night, our season. It was a good draft. You're going to hear more about that in a minute. I oversee the business of the Connecticut Sun, so ticket sales, marketing, PR, digital, all that good stuff. Also for our lacrosse team, the New England Black Wolves. Playoff bound for the 4th consecutive year. Let's go, boys. Thank you guys for supporting them as well. We love our guys. So I wanted to run you through a few things on the business side. First and foremost, I always like to thank you because each and every year I go to WNBA League meetings. Those are usually held in like November, and then we have COO meetings in like January, February. And every year they say, how do you do it? Your renewal percentage is out of this world. Like, you guys, we blow everybody out of the water. Like, we're in that 90%. Give yourselves a round of applause. It's really fantastic, and I just can't thank you enough because at the core of every sports team is a season ticket holder base. It's really what keeps us afloat. And you guys, especially day oneers, raise your hand. You day oneers, so many of you have been with us. It's amazing. Another round of applause. We're getting warmed up for the season. Let's get warmed up. So many of you have been with us through thick and thin. We're in the thick of it right now, which is really exciting. But it really is what keeps us around. When you look at the business of sports, you talk about ticket sales and you talk about sponsorship. That's what keeps you going and growing. And you guys are really the foundation of that. And the ticket sales team in the back here, you guys raise your hand. A lot of them are new. Have done a great job adding new people to our family. That's really key. We're really focused on group ticket sales this year. That's things like our camp day. Thank you guys so much for being supportive of that. That continues to grow. Getting kids and families out and really exposed to the Sun for the first time in a lot of cases and making them great fans. It really is about that generation. Year over year, we're finally getting to the point where the kids we're drafting today grew up with the WNBA, which is a really cool thing. We've been around now in our 23rd year. And that's just so important to continuing to build this over time, year over year. But again, I just can't thank you enough. This is unbelievable that we sold this out tonight. It's been this first time this has happened in my 3 years with the team. So thank you so much for being here. I know we're going to have a lot of fun. So let's talk a little bit about the business side. Oh, I have the clicker. I'm like staring at the slide, waiting for it to change, and I have the clicker. Okay, there we go. We're off to a good start here. Okay, so a few important dates. The preseason tournament, this has become an annual tradition. May 13th and 14th, doubleheader. We've got New York, Dallas, and Atlanta coming in this year. So that's a Monday and Tuesday night. Games will be at 5 and 7. We are the 7 o'clock tip in both of those. So I hope you'll come out and get a good first look at our teams. We will do a fire sale. We've done some clean out of storage, the warehouse. We've added like 6 new salespeople. We had to find a place for them to sit. So we've done some clean out. We've got some cool retro gear that we'll have available for you to purchase that night. Proceeds of that will go back to the Connecticut Sun Foundation, which allows us to do some great work in the community. Member packet pickup will start at 2 o'clock both days. So when you come down, grab a bite to eat, you can grab your packet pickup with your ticket card on either of those days. Orange Invasion, we started this last year, really getting out in the community, trying to turn Connecticut orange. A lot of landmarks, the whale tail down in New London, different locations across New London and Norwich. Different businesses participated. We're going to continue that tradition this year, the week of our home opener, so that'll be a lot of fun. Keep an eye on your emails. We'll be looking for different places of business to come visit, and if you'd like us to come to your place of business or somewhere you hang out on a regular basis, maybe we'll bring Blaze out to see you. Home opener is May 25th at 7:30 p.m. We've got those evil Washington Mystics coming in here. We will have a t-shirt giveaway. If you're on our social media, we debuted that today, so take a look at that. That's a really cool item. It's got the new WNBA logo on it, which we'll show you in a minute. We've got 4 nationally televised games, which that's a lot. When you look down the line at ESPN during the regular season, I think there's like 16, and we're on 4 of those. That's a pretty good ratio. We're real excited about the game on June 16th on ABC. That's a lot of eyeballs. We're going to have our Women of Inspiration night. That's become an annual tradition. You'll be seeing more about that, but the defending champion, Seattle Storm, coming in here. Brianna Stewart, Sue Bird. June 29th at Washington on ESPN. July 6th versus Minnesota on ESPN2. We'll honor our hometown heroes. That's become a really special night for both of our teams. And then July 12th versus Phoenix on ESPN2 is our Pride Night. Couple of miscellaneous items we've got for you here. All-Stars in Vegas this year, July 27th. I hope I'm saying it's either the 26th or 27th. We do have a special member pre-sale for that. If you want to go out to Vegas and get to that game, check your inbox over the next couple of days. We'll be sending you a link so you can purchase some tickets in advance. Another perk of being a season ticket holder. And then another special day we have, and I know this will, a lot of you will be excited about this. August 23rd, we're going to bring Lindsay Whalen back. I know, right? And honor her. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. We're still pulling all the plans together for that, but that's going to be a really special day. She obviously meant a lot to Minnesota, but before she went to Minnesota, she meant a whole lot to this franchise as well, and we want to celebrate that. Okay, let's talk about your benefits. We talked about some of these, I think, at the end of the year last year. So every year I hear, I never get thrown a t-shirt. It's amazing that no one in the whole arena ever catches a t-shirt. So we're going to solve that problem this year, and we're going to give you, each and every one of you, your very own t-shirt for being a member. Come on, round of applause. That's a good one. We're going to let you pick your size. It's going to have something really cool on the front, TBD on that. But we're gonna do a t-shirt just for our members. We're gonna do 2 member events this year. I know last year was really condensed in terms of the season. Our member event we had was sort of cut short, wasn't up to par for us. We talked about that at the end of last year, so we're gonna do 2 of those for you. One of those will be our open practice where you can get everybody's autograph, just like we do every year, and then we're gonna plan a second one for you to allow you to interact with the players and the coaches a bit more. The discount at your Mohegan Sun shops and restaurants, discount at merch and concession stands. You've got the complimentary guest vouchers. That process will stay the same online this year. You can go to your member page on the website, and it's got the information there, but you can always call your account executive to run you through that. You can buy additional tickets at member price, and then I think the best benefit, no ticket goes unused. Anytime you can't come to a game, just give us a call. We'll give you additional tickets for games that you can attend. Okay, some cool things happening this has been an exciting week. The WNBA spent a lot of time during the off season and even into last season a little bit, really taking a look at our brand, and we had a company come in and really develop a brand refresh. So what you saw debuted earlier this week is a brand new logo woman. They took her out of the box. She's free. She's got a bun. Everybody's debating who it is. Little more modern font there. And then there was a new anthem video that debuted on Monday with the slogan, Make Way. So you'll see that play out over the course of the season, but some really exciting things coming down the line in an effort to continue to grow our fan base, to reach a new audience, to get younger folks interested and excited about the WNBA and really cross over into the college game. We don't have that issue here. A lot of you guys are the UConn faithful as well. We need to do that around the country. So there's a real effort there to continue to connect those dots. New jerseys. So, Kurt, I should have had Kurt just wear it. So you can see they changed. There was a lot of conversation when we started putting sponsor logos on here that you didn't have a team mark. So, I think Nike really listened to that. The league really listened to that. So every team now has their logo here in place of the player number. So we're really helping the officials out here. We'll let Kurt talk about that. Also on here, so our marquee partner is our amazing Mohegan Sun. We love having that brand on our chest as we go across the country and on national television. We're so grateful that they wanted to do that. And then AT&T is a national partner, so you'll see AT&T on every single jersey across the league. That's really exciting. That's a huge long-term commitment from AT&T and really means a lot to us. And then just announced this week, our very first badge partner. So every team has the opportunity locally to sell what they call a badge. It's about a 2-inch by 2-inch badge there with a local sponsor. And our brand new healthcare provider, Yale New Haven Health, stepped up in a huge way to do that. You can sit down now, Kurt. Do you want to hold the blue one up? You know what's amazing? My favorite thing about the blue one is that the blues match. Oh, I know. Not even on purpose. So very exciting. Yale New Haven Health is going to do a lot of great things for our players. They have facilities all across the state. Just incredible opportunity for us to partner with them, and we're going to do some cool things in the community as well. So look for more on that. Did I hit everything? Local TV. Okay. So we all know we've had the blackout issue. So I'm trying to continue to improve that every single year. We haven't landed on a local TV provider just yet, but we will. And I continue to hear you and work on making sure that we limit those blackouts. Our issue is the gosh darn Liberty. They've got a few zip codes that sort of live in Connecticut because of where they're located. And we're working with them, we're working with the league to try to make sure that as many people who want to see the Sun games can see them. Okay? I think that's all of my part. Should we ask my questions now, or should we go into the basketball? Does anybody have any questions for me, real quick? We can save it for the end if you want. Yes, ma'am. You're talking about shops and restaurants. So all of those folks out in Mohegan are vendors and partners of ours. And so we go to them and we ask them to do the best that they can for us. So, most of them will run through December 31, but we continue to ask the question every single year to see, and different partners do different things. I think we do a discount on, doesn't that usually, I'm looking for Jen Fushi. Didn't we just get an email about that this week? Okay. I think we got an email where we have to submit all of your email addresses and we'll send you a discount code for that. So I think we've done that, right?
Yes, but last year if you did it after I had already signed up. I didn't do it, you did it late.
That's a fair question. Okay. Good to know. Well, I did get an email. We'll submit your email, so look for that discount code. If you have already renewed, just reach out to us, and we'll help you fight that battle. I got one in the back here, too. Sure. Go ahead here in the back.
We lost our rep because it was Alec, and so when will we find out who our new rep is?
You can see Jim Fushi stand up. Jim Fushi is standing right there. She's our manager of sales and service. She will work with you to assign a new rep. The really great news, we did lose Alec. A lot of you had Alec. He's was fantastic. We miss him. For a long time, we only had 4 season ticket reps, and that became difficult as we grew, especially as our other franchise began to grow. The really awesome news is that the leadership stepped up and said, let's grow your member base or your season ticket rep number. So we've got 10 of them now. It's so loud down there, you can't even believe it. But that's created, we're dividing up some accounts, so some of you will have some new folks. So definitely, if you don't know who your person is, stop by, see Jen, see one of the reps in the back, and we'll make sure that you get connected with them so you have a go-to throughout the season.
We have a question over here.
Oh my gosh.
I have just a quick question.
Okay.
Why is it not possible to sell Connecticut Sun merchandise at the casino itself? Because in my mind, that would certainly get more people involved in coming in, tell them who we are and so forth. You can only buy it when you're going to a game, and that's really pretty self-limiting. Yep. So
it's a great question.
Is there a reason? I mean,
there's not a reason other than I'm working on it. We have a different merchandise vendor, and they have to work with the vendor that is inside our shops. And we just haven't been able to get over the hump to get to a point where the number of minimums make sense, that, the price isn't too high. It's not a good answer, and it's not a good solution, and I want to fix it. One thing that we did do, and our merch vendor did a great job with this, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but and this is a lot of legal jargon, but they signed on to be a licensee, which means that they can create more designs at a better price, honestly. I don't know if some of you have seen some of the things that have been put up, like we've been able to do a onesie and some more kids gear, because they can print it on demand, and even our graphic designer can create some things. So I hope all of you will be much more pleased with our merchandise. That came up last year. We've worked really hard to fix that. That's the next step. I mean, I would love to have a store and sell it year round.
okay. So with that in mind, what could we as fans do to raise awareness to the WNBA, to people in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, who will all come to our games? Is there any way we can help? Because, we're pretty lucky. We have a lot of good season ticket holders.
We do.
But there's a lot of people that go, WNBA, what is that?
Yeah,
So
it's spread
how
the
can we
word.
help
It's spread the word. It's what groups do you belong to, referrals, and I know you guys do that already. But as many new people as we can expose, we know once people come once, right, they're going to come back. It's great basketball. It's great entertainment. So just continue to tell us and tell your account executive, referrals, bring out groups, talk to the people you know, your neighbors, get them in the door, and then make sure when you do use those vouchers and bring people in that you let your account exec know. So that way the account exec can come over and talk to them about buying a ticket package. I mean, we have packages that are 6 games. It's not a huge commitment. Or somebody can bring out a group and fundraise if they wanted to do that, if it's like a youth basketball team or a nonprofit. So there's a lot of different ways to get involved. You can have these conversations with your account executive. They can walk you through all the opportunities so and you're armed when you're out in the community talking about that. But you're our biggest advocates. Absolutely. You're the ones out spreading that word for us.
Being that for the operation, this isn't just about the Sun, but my question is in general about how the draft is running now. I don't know how many other people feel, but that was a rush syndrome, and they totally took the fans out of the draft. We had no say. We didn't get to watch. If you watch it on TV, there was no fans there to cheer the players. It was a 1, 2, 3, click it draft where there was no enjoyment, and these girls that worked so hard to get to it got nowhere. They got no support. Is it going to stay at headquarters, or is it going to float around? Because when it was here, we packed the stadium every year.
It's funny, we were just talking about that last night. Again, I wasn't a part of those, but I've heard about, were you here? Oh, the first one, yeah. How great those were for the fans. A little bit of it's Nike came on board last year. They're a big sponsor. They want to showcase the uniforms. ESPN drives a little bit of it. It's an ongoing conversation. Certainly, we're partial. We like it here. And we appreciate that the fans want to be a part of it as well. So I hear you, and, we definitely say we're open to host. anytime they want to have it here, we'd love to have it.
There's even been talk about after the lottery and who gets the number one pick, should that city host the draft? Like, should we have been in Vegas this year with them having the number one pick and a lot of buzz? So that is a conversation at all levels, in our coaches' meetings, obviously front office meetings and things like that. So it is talked about, and wouldn't be surprised at some point that it starts to float around again, because all the coaches around the league talk about what a great environment it was for the fans when it was here. So they knew we put on a great show, and we knew Vegas would put on a great show. We know our two places would put on a great show. I'm not sure everyone feels that way, but they feel that there should be more fan interaction at the draft.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, you saw All-Star for many, many years was here, continued to come here. Well, then it became a really successful model to move around, and teams were finding a lot of success in it. So now you are seeing it move around. So like everything else, I think you'll see evolution with it.
How about a nice marquee location that says, "Welcome to Connecticut Sun," where we can have our pictures taken? People can say, "Oh, yes, this is from Connecticut."
Like in front of a main entrance. It's a great idea. We've tried to do more on game days, but something permanent. Did anybody see the new permanent signage as you came in today? So that was a real step forward. Again, a nod to our leadership. I took a walk around with the president of Mohegan Sun, expecting for, a couple of these panels. And he's like, no, you can have that huge wall. So, we're making progress. What's that? Yeah, we've got a few over the doors, so we're continuing to have that conversation, and we've definitely got the support to do it. We just need to be creative about it. It's a great point. Vegas does that really well as you walk into their casino. Yeah, it's good, right? The balloons. Yeah. Anyone else? Oh, yes, ma'am. We don't know at this point. It's usually a year out. There's a bid process. We're always a part of that. So at this point, we don't know. All we know is Vegas. All right, let's get to some basketball, should we? All right. Head coach, general manager Kurt Miller, entering his 4th season. Round of applause. Really done a fantastic job. It's incredible to me how many miles these guys log over the course of the off season. You don't see them on a regular basis, but how hard they work just to get to really last night and prepare for the season is unbelievable how much work goes into it. So I'm going to turn it over to Kurt and let him introduce, they're not new staff, but talk about his staff a little bit and their roles. Kurt, take it away.
All right, thank you. Big round of applause for Amber. We're really, really blessed to have Amber on the business side and has a lot of input on the basketball side, and someone that we can really lean on in the experience through her years in Phoenix, but someone that is so supportive of some of the things that we want to do and accomplish on the basketball side, and we're very blessed and don't take it for granted. And it's amazingly how hard she works for 2 teams throughout the year, and that goes to all the people in the back, all our sales group, just a tremendous group. And our office area has been revamped, and it is really exciting to be around such talented people on a daily basis. So we're excited. We're excited to be back. The off season was fantastic. Again, my home base in the off-season, as my son has 1 year left of college, is still in Bloomington, Indiana. At the beginning of the off-season, Brandy and her husband were still in Lubbock and now are in Connecticut full-time. So excited about that. And Chris, again, also worked at USC, University of Southern California, for his final season. And so again, they're back. A reminder, Brandy and I will be starting our 15th season together. That is a lot of years to put up with me, so she needs a round of applause for sure.
You might need to stand up for that one.
Yeah. I've called her my Chris Daly, so you understand. Like she certainly has put up with me for a long time. But the obvious change in the offseason is Steve announced even before the end of our regular season last year, as we were heading into the playoffs, had an unbelievable opportunity to return to Los Angeles and his family to become a head athletic director of a private high school in Los Angeles. It was an opportunity he couldn't pass up, and while we tremendously miss him, we're in constant communication and happy for him, and his health, as we always get asked, is as good as it's been in a long, long time. So really happy about Steve, but that allowed us to move up Chris. Chris was technically our video coordinator, very, very important piece of our coaching staff. I viewed them as all three assistants, and he was our guard coach last year and did a tremendous job with our guards and our scouting and our video. But with Steve departing, it was a no-brainer to move Chris up full-time. So as soon as USC finished their regular season and conference tournament play this year, Chris's responsibilities ended forever for USC, and now he is with us full-time and has moved back from California. He is from New York, but he now is also in Connecticut full-time. So we're really glad. We have to go back to the Mike Tebow era and to have as many coaches as we have full-time and year-round in Connecticut. So really excited about what that presents for us in the off-season, a lot more presence in market even in the off-season. Speaking of the off-season, I spent more time in Connecticut, usually 1 week a month. This year it was more 10, even some of the months, 2 weeks a month in the off-season in Connecticut. So a lot of back and forth for me, but exciting. Again, Chris was kind of our lead person out in the Pac-12, Brandy in the Big 12. I was in Big 10 country, and some of the better teams in the ACC are very close with Notre Dame and Louisville in our region. And then we went crazy to all the Thanksgiving tournaments, Christmas tournaments, all the conference tournaments, and we ran around in preparation for your whopping 3 minutes on the clock last night. So it is nerve-wracking. It is nerve-wracking in that war room, that 5 or 6 months of work and constant attending games in person. And if not, 7:00 p.m. every night, you can find us with devices in our hand. Every night at 7:00, I typically have, if I'm not attending a game in person, and these guys are the same way, watching a game on the phone, watching a game on the laptop, and then the TV's on in the game. So constantly preparing for last night. So exciting night, and it went really, really well. So we're excited. So we'll talk about that. Last piece, who do we replace Chris with? We got a signed contract today. So soon will be an announcement of our latest coach to join us. Very, very excited that announcement in a long process to replace Chris is come to an end, and we're excited in a few days to be able to announce that. So that's the coaching staff for this upcoming year. So let's talk draft.
Yeah. So I just want, I want you to like start at the beginning. You know, like 6:55, Kurt starts going, is the phone working? Is it working? Is somebody check the dial tone? Check the dial tone. Like it's tense, you guys. It's real tense. So I want you to start there, and just last night was interesting because there was no clear-cut number one, and so we didn't know what Bill was going to do, right? So start there, and then walk us through how we end up with this rock star that we got at 9.
So you guys, you have to understand, there's some fun times in the war room, but there's some nervous times. So it's 6:30. All the teams get on this call, and there needs to be roll call. Okay, so this year, they get to Phoenix, and they're like, Phoenix, are you there? Dead silent. Phoenix, are you there? Dead silent. And we're like, yes, they picked me for us. We are going to move up. Anyway, so, you know, like that, those things happen all the time. Last year, Chicago is literally on the clock. They're in their last minute. Start to get asked behind the scenes. Chicago, make your pick. Chicago, make your pick. They dropped the phone call. the phone call dropped. So Chicago is scrambling. So as we are all like dying, getting out our cell phones, the rest of the league is texting Chicago, making them crazy, going, "You're going to miss your pick," and we're making fun of them. And then the funny things that happen is like Los Angeles mispronounced the kid's name so terribly last year that we were all dying. So there's a lot of fun stories and light moments behind the scenes in the draft room, but it's very, very nerve-wracking. So 7 o'clock comes along, and our picks are ahead of the telecast, as obviously they're doing great things and feature stories, and they're running specials on all these great players. We're continuing. You know, someone picks, you got 3 minutes on the clock. So we are way ahead of the broadcast. So by the time you guys hear who the pick, we have screamed and yelled and high-fived and run around the room and get really excited, because in the war rooms around the league, we're way ahead of the picks. But this year was really, really an interesting year. There was no clear-cut number one. So for weeks and months, we've been doing our mock drafts and you know, trying to figure out all the scenarios. And I'm telling you, and this is when we were waiting with, you know, anticipation as the college season was ending to find out what was going to happen with Sabrina and what was going to happen with Jackie Young. Because at the time, headed down the stretch, we're picking number 9, and we really, really like 8 players. We view 8 players that we would without hesitation take at 9. But that left the worst case scenario, right? The worst case scenario is if neither one of those enter the draft, we like 8 players. If all 8 of those players get taken, now we're into that next group that we didn't think we were going to have to make a decision between on number 9. That doesn't mean they weren't great players. Doesn't mean we didn't like them. We just liked these 8 players for one of the first picks at 9. So when Jackie Young came in, we were ecstatic. All right, now we like 9 players. And so we are going to get someone we like, but we had our preferences. And out of those 9s, we certainly still had our preferences on who we hoped was there. So it started. So last night, we knew early on that Vegas was going to kind of dictate the draft. So it could be, it was very well known that they were down to 3. They were going to be down to McCowan, Durr, or Jackie Young is who they had narrowed in on, and we had learned that from behind the scenes. And so when they took Jackie Young, now it all started to play out. No secret, New York was very, very much on the Durr bandwagon from the beginning. So it just started to play out, and which big? We knew Indiana was going to go big, but they going to go Kalani Brown? Were they going to go Tierra McCowan? And so it just started to figure out. Well, for us, for weeks, and I think I said to the media last night, for at least 6 weeks, draft after draft after draft, one of the common picks for us on every one of our boards was Christine Inigwe at 4. Chicago wanted a rim-running post. They've been outspoken that they wanted to improve their athleticism in the post. Everyone in the league thought they were going to take Christine Inigwe. So when they took Katie Lou, it all of a sudden, like, our wheels are rolling, going, all right, maybe Inigwe now drops unexpectedly. Now, as we all in this room, you know, kind of slunch and go, well, maybe Katie Lou would have dropped to 9. You know, we could always dream, right? But we were really, really excited because Inigwe is someone that for 6 weeks, probably of doing mock drafts, we hardly could come up with a reason for her not to be 4. So fast forward, when Christine Inigwe is there at 9, we are ecstatic. And I know you guys don't get to see her on a daily basis, but she led the nation in rebounding this year. She was the National Defensive Player of the Year. In 30 years, no one has averaged over 22 points and 16 rebounds in a season. 31 years ago is the last time someone did that, to give you an idea of what kind of year she had out there in the Pac-12. And so really, really excited about her physicality, rebounding. The last big-time rebounder we got was JJ, and she led the nation her senior year in college in rebounding. All she did was turn around in her rookie season and break the all-time rebounding record in the WNBA history. Now, Sylvia turned around and beat it by a rebound or two last year. But it is, since I joined the WNBA 5 years ago, it is a statistical category that is translated. The good rebounders in college have stayed very productive and good rebounders in the pros. So we're really excited about her athleticism, her physicality, her ability to rebound the basketball and be really productive. Offensively, she's put up great numbers, but she's the first to tell you that she'll continue to grow and get better and can't wait to work. And Leja's out there all the time practicing with Cal and will, really vouch for her, and she looks up to Leja. And so we're excited about that partnership, that we have such a good leader in Leja and Christine coming. So very excited about our first-round pick.
Yeah, and you guys, she just fantastic. Both Kurt and I hopped on the phone with her last night. So grateful, so excited to be here. Just overjoyed at the opportunity, and I don't know, again, if you're looking at social media, some of the comments that she made, just very, very thrilled to be a part of our organization. Has obviously heard great things about our fan base and our team, so you guys are going to love her. She's was a lot of fun to talk to just last night. We're going to try to get her out here hopefully in the next couple of weeks as well, so stay tuned. So let's go to the second round.
So second round, exciting. We picked up 2 players, one through trade and one our own draft pick. Both were players of the year in their conference. So Natisha Heidemann from Marquette was the unanimous Big East player of the year this year, has made over 300 threes in her career, is a dynamic, fast point guard, combo guard, can play off the ball also because she's such a tremendous shooter. Someone that really I have been drawn to for the last few years and really loved her game. Another underrated aspect of her game is she's one of the best rebounding small guards in college basketball. And now, she weighs 115 pounds, but the other small player that we have, and Chris said, what, does Courtney weigh 116? I think Courtney's in the 120s, but Courtney is the best rebounding guard in the WNBA right now. And so to have another dynamic athlete, another player that rebounds her position, obviously is a tremendous shooter. Really excited that we picked her up in a trade. And then Bridget Carlton is the Big 12 Player of the Year over Kalani Brown and the Baylor team. And so just had a tremendous career for Iowa State. She goes all the way back to the days when Brandy and I were in college and we were recruiting her. So there's a relationship with Bridget Carlton. That fan base last night had a huge party and addressed. I've talked to so much media from Iowa and Canada in the last 24 hours. There's so much excitement. She's the Swiss Army knife of the draft. She does everything well. She can drive it, she can shoot it, she can rebound, she can post up. She's probably got to be up there one of the best IQ players, basketball IQ players in the draft. But what I think makes her special is you have to understand that Bridget Carlton is the best player in the Big 12 and the best player at Iowa State and has been for years. And they play through her all the time. She's also a member of the Canadian national team. And she sits on the end of the bench for the Canadian national team, biding her time as the youngest member of the Canadian national team. And she is an unbelievable teammate and just honored to be on the national team. And her goal so much is to be in the 2020 Olympics for Canada. Not everyone can handle that. Not everyone can go from a star to sitting on the bench. And that's what happens to a lot of these rookies in the WNBA. And to know that she is already a phenomenal teammate on the Canadian national team after being a star at the collegiate level, knows that if she scratches and claws onto our roster, that she is going to be one fantastic teammate, while my favorite saying to our team all the time, fight for the role that you want, be a champion in the role you earn. And I'm telling you, she will fight, scratch, and claw for the role that she wants. But as roles are defined and playing time is decided and rotations start, that kid would be a champion in the role she earned. And so really, really excited about our second round picks. Sorry, I'm getting excited about the draft.
If she makes our roster, have y'all seen Hoosiers? Right? That's going to be the caravan from Iowa, I think. Like, really. I could not believe it last night. I was like, Kurt, you're still on the phone? He's like, I have another newspaper to call in Iowa. I mean, they were real excited about her being a member of the Connecticut Sun. You should talk about her head coach and,
Yeah, Coach Finley and I go a way back, but he called me literally like in tears, emotional, because how much that player has meant to him and what she has done for that community, one of the best fan bases in all of college basketball. So just really, really remarkable, the stories that are coming out of Iowa about Bridget Carlton. So I know you don't get to see Iowa State all the time, but just a fantastic person.
You want to talk about third round?
Yeah, and third round. And at that point, it's all about fit. We know it's really difficult to make a WNBA roster. We can go around the league. There's just a handful of third-round picks that are still in the league. But really fortunate to get Reagan McGarity out of Virginia Tech. Now, think about this. Okay? The all-time leading rebounder in ACC history. And you think about all the North Carolina players, the Duke players, Notre Dame, Louisville. She is the all-time leading rebounder from the power forward position in the ACC. She's a stretch four. She's really, really good with the ball. She's a point forward. She can really facilitate. And as you know, we use Alyssa Thomas and Morgan Tuck out there like that we have another person in camp that will be a facilitating four, great person. Her uncle is the head coach of Army women's basketball. Her cousin is the head coach of New Hampshire women's basketball, so there's a connection here in the States, even though she was born overseas. She has a dual passport. So we're really excited about Reagan McGarity, and while she knows how hard it is going to be to make our team, she's a great fit to our locker room and the style that we love to play.
Yeah, that's great. So with that group, we've also got a group of free agents coming into camp. Talk about that group thus far, and what it's going to be like once we start camp. Obviously, there's not a lot of room on this roster. So how does that look?
Yeah, to gain, to even add to the competition in our camp and have the most competitive camp since we've been there, we signed Brianna Kiesel to a free agent training camp contract. Brianna Kiesel has not only played in Tulsa, in Dallas, and Atlanta, been out of the league for a couple years, but is a proven point guard, truly one of the fastest guards out there, a tremendous leader, really understand what it is to be a professional, tremendously fit, has a true chance to squeeze onto our roster in one of those last guard positions, and just ended her international season against Jasmine Thomas in the Poland League in the quarterfinals, where they were eliminated, but has had another good international season. So excited about that. Just today, and minutes before you all walked in here, announced the free agent signing of Emma Cannon, an undersized post player that last year, 2 years ago, played in Phoenix and was an enforcer behind Brittany Griner, a little bit undersized, but so strong and physical. Is currently in Poland, also in the semifinal series against Jasmine's team right now, and having another great international season. A seasoned pro that has just played year after year overseas, and will be our first 30-year-old ever into our camp since I've been here. So brings us some experience and some toughness, and is just genuinely excited for the opportunity to get back into a WNBA camp and compete. Last but not least, first time in a camp in a long time, Ariel Edwards out of Penn State. She was on those great Penn State teams with Maggie Lucas, Alex Bentley, Nikki Green, Ariel Edwards was the unsung hero of that group. She's a versatile 6'3", small forward, can play power forward, can shoot it, can drive it, has had a really, really nice international career so far, has not made a final roster yet in the WNBA, but again, another opportunity for a really skilled, athletic 6'3" forward that can play inside and out. So excited about Ariel Edwards being in camp.
Yeah, you mentioned Jasmine. So we go into the offseason with only one of our existing roster not under contract. That was Jazz. You want to talk about that process and the conversations with Jazz? I mean, a lot of you probably saw maybe the video we put out or, the press release, but behind the scenes, I think, Jazz has been such an important piece to growing what we are today, and her commitment and love for all of you and being here. I know she's certainly communicated that with you, so I don't know if you want to share a little bit of that.
Yeah, it was a great process, and learned right away that she wanted to be back. And she wanted to be the leader here, and she likes what we're doing, and she likes the direction of our young team, and there's unfinished business, and I apologize. It's my job to get us over the hump. We are the only team in the league over the last 2 seasons to finish in the top 4 in the regular season. We're very, very proud of our regular season success. We also, thank you, thanks. We're very proud of that. Very proud that when I got hired here, and Chris Sienko and management and Mitchell looked at me and said, you got to catch Minnesota. They're the team to beat, Minnesota, LA. Well, in the 3 years of being a head coach here, we have the best regular season record against Minnesota of any team in the league. So, excited that you got to beat the best to be the best. Excited about that. We swept LA and Minnesota last year. And for the first time in a long time in franchise history. But the kryptonite is that Phoenix team out there with Taurasi and Griner. And it's my job, and I take full responsibility on how to get to the finish line in those last 3 minutes. We took that lead on Courtney Williams' amazing 4-point play last year, and thought with 3 minutes to go we were going to get by them and get into that semifinal series, and we felt like we matched up well with Seattle. But we came up short, and I take full responsibility that I got to get this young group over the hump. But we're excited. And Jazz echoes that, and is kind of the extension of the coaching staff out on the court, and she knows how close we are, and she was anxious to get back and be under contract and ready for another try as we continue to build something special here.
So let's talk a little bit, and Brandy and Chris, feel free to jump in, about our players in the off season, because we all sit with them before they go overseas or head off to whatever they're doing, and some of them we see a little bit more than others, but most of them are gone. And we have that conversation with them about what their expectations are, what they are going to work on, and then we don't see them again. I really don't talk to them, but these guys are in constant communication. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about, the JJs and some of them and what they've been up to and how we've been helping them get over that Phoenix kryptonite.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn this quickly over to these guys because they do an unbelievable with our job with our players, getting them information and helping them continue to develop even when they're with their international teams. But currently, we still have 6 players overseas. Just this week, Brianna Jones and her team won the Euro Cup. It is absolutely, phenomenal. Bree Jones has had an unbelievable international season in Russia. Winning the Euro Cup is huge for our franchise, huge for her and her confidence coming back, and she is just lighting it up over there, constantly a double-double, and has just had an amazing year. Jasmine's on the best team in Poland as they're into the Polish playoffs and into the semifinals. They should win. They're strong favorite to win the Polish championship. Alyssa Thomas is having an unbelievable MVP type of year in the Czech Republic, on the best team in the Czech Republic. They're currently in the Final Four and the semifinals of the Euro League, which is the highest level of competition over there. They start their semifinal series tomorrow, and it will pit her versus Brianna Stewart, Bree Stewart, and Kursk out of Russia. That's the semifinal series over there. So Stewart Thomas matchup in the semifinal in the best international league going. So very excited to watch their finish. JJ is still in the Russian league and playing in the Russian league only. There's a lawsuit and everything with these people that are getting dual passports. Won't bore you with that whole details, but JJ's only playing in the Russian league over there. But her teammates are Brittany Griner, Emma Miesemann, Maria Vadiva out of Los Angeles, and the Russian player. So every day in practice, she is playing against that kind of post group. So really excited about JJ coming back and taking that next step. And then Courtney and Rachel are having too much fun as teammates in Spain. And they're in the Spanish playoffs, and they've made a run late in the season, finished 4th in the regular season in the Spanish league, and are into the playoffs. We are hoping like heck that they get beat, like get them back here quickly. But Courtney and Rachel having all sorts of fun being teammates over there and putting up big numbers as always. So those are the 6 over there. But to give you an idea, I'll let these guys talk about how they stay in touch with them, a little bit about what they do to continue to get them ready for the Sun season.
I'll start with the post players. And hello, everybody, Brandy, if y'all don't remember. But I think in the off season, the big thing is just trying to continue to build relationships with them, because we're only with them half of the year. It's not like college where you're literally with these women, 12 months. So continuing to try to build relationships. And sometimes I don't even talk basketball. Sometimes I talk, Alyssa Thomas is building a house. So we talk home decor and HGTV and just continuing to get to know them and build that rapport a little bit with them really helps when they do get here. But when the players that are overseas, it's a little hard. Our hours are all off, but I've been sending them clips of tape. I've just been working backwards through our season and cutting down and sending them good things that they've done, and then things like, hey, watch this. You could have been more aggressive here. JJ, Candace Parker does not want to guard you here. She wants nothing to do with you. Go at her. Be more aggressive. And just sending them film. Occasionally, I'll send clips of NBA players that may match their game a little bit, just to change it up a little bit. And it's nothing long. It's 2 to 3 minutes, if that. And just working through, just so we're still in their mind year round, and they can continue to see themselves on the court in a Sun uniform and what they did well and what they can continue to work on. Morgan Tuck came back a few weeks ago and is back in town. So we've been getting on the court, getting some shots up with her. So it's great to have people here in town that we can get shots up with. Chanae is doing stuff on her own since she's got a work schedule. But so I really just try to build relationships with the post players. Bree Jones, obviously, just looking for her to take another step forward. And is having an incredible year in Russia, sending her film as well. So again, it's just really building relationships with them in the off season when they're not here and stay in their mind. And I know AT is she plays the post, but she works out with the guards. But she's an honorary post, so I send her film as well because she plays the post position 99% of the time when she's on our court. But it's been a tremendous off season. But man, I cannot wait for them to return. Being on the court with Morgan last week and getting up shots, I was like, let's go. Like I was ready to start practice.
I'll echo what Brandy said. I'll be quick. It's just consistency with them. So at the end of every year, we sit down, we have these exit interviews, and we talk about what they did well, what they want to improve upon, and where they kind of see themselves. And so our responsibility now is, and it's difficult because you're not with them for these 6 months, you have such a lack of control, but how can you kind of hold them accountable without being in their ear and physically with them all the time? So we use WhatsApp a lot because they're overseas, so it's easy to communicate. So it's being intentional about developing that relationship with them, learning more about them, not just as a player, but as a person. And then that gives you kind of that trust there to remind them what we talked about here at the end of the season and what's going to get us over that hump. What do we need to continue to work on going forward? So it's just being really intentional about those conversations. Again, mixing it in, keeping it light, letting them know you care about them, but then reminding them, this is business. We want to take the next step. Here's what you need to be doing. How are you doing? What have you been doing? Here's what, can you add a little bit more of this? And that goes into adding some film here and there from our past WNBA season. And then we're fortunate enough that a lot of our players were playing in the EuroLeague, top leagues across Europe, where we can watch their games on YouTube. I don't know if I'm sure a bunch of you do that, and social media does an awesome job of tweeting out those links. So we'll watch some of those games, and then we'll start some banter about how they played and things that happened in the game that, go back to our philosophies and just get the basketball talk rolling. So it's, they're still thinking about the Sun, even though they're not in season, and what we're trying to accomplish here. So, it's tough, right? You see them for 6 months, they're gone. So you just got to be really intentional about and genuine. They're awesome women, and so we're here for them. Everything is for them. So I'm just lucky to be able to work with them and get to do that.
It's an incredible shift. I started in the WNBA with Phoenix in 2004. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of technology to communicate with them, or all these different, analytics, software, cutting, this, that. Like, I would have had to physically sit in a room and probably cut a piece of film to do something like that. I'm sure it was more advanced. But you get my point. Now there's all this great opportunity and great technology that allows us to stay in communication with them, and these guys do such a great job of that. And I know our players appreciate it. It feels like they're home. So that's great. Okay, so 2 additions last year, mid-season Laisha Clarendon, and then Bria Holmes, local, New Haven. She was in the office today with the cutest little baby you guys have ever seen. So talk about the 2 of them and how Laisha continues to progress with us, and then, how you see Bria really jumping in to impact us as well.
Yeah, we're really excited that Bria is a Connecticut native, a state champion in high school, and is so excited to be back. We get tired of hearing all these people that want to be in this city and that city, and Bria Holmes wants to be in Connecticut, so really excited about that. She visited today and is doing fantastic. She went over to France briefly to get her basketball legs back under her and played for about a month, 6 weeks over in France, and then came back home. Immediately went to Florida and trained for a couple weeks, and was doing 2-a-days with a trainer that she really respects and works with down in Florida, but is now back in Connecticut working hard. So, really excited about what she brings. Such a great athlete, and we knew when we made the trade last year that we were going to have to wait for a year, but really excited about the slashing athlete, the big wing defender that we have been lacking. So think that she's going to be an integral part of this season. And then Laisha, just a tremendous leader, a true professional. If you follow her on social media at all, it's, her working out. It's like she makes us all feel guilty about what we eat. She, such a good meal prepper, and everything is fresh and cooked, and she doesn't put anything bad in her body. Like, she just is amazing. She looks phenomenal. We've never had this many players in market this early in the history of the franchise. Laisha's here, Morgan is here, Bria is here, Chanae is here, Strickland has been here the entire new year. And I went up after a very busy day of contracts today and watched Strickland and Laisha work out. Morgan wasn't there today. But we've never had this many players this early in market. And it says something to how Connecticut treats them and how we're treating them, that more and more of these pros want to be in Connecticut earlier. So we're blessed, and we're already working with a core group of our team, and we're as anxious as anyone for May 5th and that Sunday, May 5th, the start of training camp.
I think it speaks to, and you chime in here, the maturity, they want to get over the hump. I don't get the emails about the basketball. I get like the emails, when can I move in? Where's the paperwork for my dog? Like those types of things. So I'm in the know about those things, but more than ever before, they want to be here early. And, we have the great opportunity to set them up. It's really on their schedule when they want to come back, but it's been great to have them in market. And, from a business and a community standpoint, I'll say, Shakina Strickland and Morgan have just been tremendous. They've just been out impacting, whether it's a basketball team and Brandy as well. We put Brandy to extra work there. We started the Sun Suit Up program this year where we put like 6 teams in our Sun gear. They became the Sun for their respective season, and we got to surprise a few of those with Shakina and Morgan and Brandy going out and presenting the uniforms. That goes a long way. So it's a really big deal to have them here with us, not only on the basketball side, but doing the great work in the community. And again, to Kurt's point, really speaks to how much they do love it here. All right, anything else you want to add before we open it up to
Oh, let's get the
the
good
questions? Let's go. Who's first?
We starting out with softballs or the hard fastball right away?
Rule changes was the question.
Oh my God, I tried to fall asleep during that presentation. There's points of emphasis this year with freedom of movement, the physicality. It's the same talking points. So not any significant rule changes. Sometimes we mirror some of the men. And if you follow any kind of men's basketball, there's more about clamping, locking a person's arm with your arm, and it's a very dangerous play. And if someone gets pulled in the wrong direction, and so there's going to be more of an emphasis on that. It happened twice last year in our league, and it's very fortunate that and JJ was involved with one of them. We were very fortunate JJ's arm wasn't broken, and so there is a concern at times with that type of play. And so that's the one that they're going to call that a lot more closely and aggressively.
Anything for post play, it feels like you can touch and there's a foul, but you can get mauled under the basket and there's no foul. So no emphasis.
Yeah, still freedom of movement, cleaning up post play. But then that you realize that our game is so physical, and it will return to how it always is.
This is being filmed, so you can tell.
Yes, we are.
We do have an edit button, Kurt.
Yeah.
Do we know if any of the players who are overseas now are going to be late coming to camp?
Great question. Yes. The answer is yes. Alyssa Thomas and Jasmine Thomas will both be late, but they will be here by media day, which is May 8th. So we're talking only 3 days late at max. The Russian league still has to play out, so there's a potential JJ could be a little bit late. Bree, we're hoping that she will, get back as quickly as possible, but you're always worried about the Russian league, but we're optimistic. And then Courtney and Rachel, we keep on reminding them to lose every day. And so we don't think that they will be late, but their team has gotten hot, and it's a credit to those two and how well Courtney's playing and how well Rachel's playing. All of a sudden, that team's really gelled lately and got hot. So we didn't expect them to make the run that they're making. So you never know if they make a run to the championship in the Spanish League playoffs. They could end up being a little bit late. But if they are knocked out in the semifinals, there's no consolation games in that league, and so they would be back on time. So it's all days. Like, we're not going to have anyone miss a crazy amount, knock on wood.
Like last year with JJ?
Correct.
I noticed in the draft that some teams only picked one, the Aces, and that's fine. And then some other teams, I think Minnesota had 5 picks. How did they, seeing it starts out like it's going to be even because there's 12 teams and 36 picks, but then it ends up with varied.
Yes. That happens. The draft happens because there's been trades made throughout the year. So when you see Minnesota had accumulated second-round picks, for example, they had made trades that were previously done that allowed them to have that many picks. Vegas had traded their second and third round picks a lot earlier, which left them only their first round pick, which happened to be the third time in a row they got the number one pick. But that was their only pick of the night. We asked if they went out after they made their pick, did they even watch the rest of the draft? So that was the running joke behind the scenes. Vegas, are you gone? Are you gone for the night? But that's how it happens. Previous trades. These ones are easy. I came with a little bit of Under Armour underneath my shirt.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Okay. You know, the leadership at the top is a former NBA and WNBA official now. There's processes and procedures. The coaches and franchises are involved with a lot of updated input. I get a text message before 8 a.m. every morning after the game. They don't want to give it to you right after the game. You know, and you have the ability every day, you're asked after the game to evaluate. And they're really, really doing a nice job with that information and training. And our core group is staying together. We're only losing 4. We only lost 2 WNBA officials to the NBA this offseason. Sometimes we've lost more, so we've had to bring in new people. This year we only had to replace 2 that have moved on to the NBA and will not ref any WNBA games this year. So that core group of 30, 31 officials is very familiar and similar going into this year.
Kurt, in light of the lull in the crowd here, are we in the running for Liz Cambage? You haven't talked her into coming to Connecticut?
We have not. We have not. You know, there's a lot to go into that. I think they're getting closer and closer all the time. She has a boyfriend, which isn't reported in LA, which plays a part of this whole thing. Obviously, behind the scenes, if you've read anything, she has a real interest in DJing. And so the LA market has been really intriguing to her for some of her passions and energies off the court. So we're all still waiting. Lots of rumors out there. It's not to the finish line, but we still believe, a lot of us in the league, that some of the picks in the first round last night were made to help complete a deal. And so while they're not to the finish line, I am guessing that Liz will play in the league this year. It's a good question. Christine does have the ability to step out. She's not a three-point shooter, but makes more 15-footers in that elbow range and beyond than she gets credit for. She's a tremendous athlete. You know, she's another one of these fantastic women basketball players that can also dunk the basketball. She has that kind of athleticism. You know, it's interesting because analytically, you look at some of the stuff from us last year, and I would get frustrated at times with some of our spacing if Chanae, JJ, and AT were on the floor together, because Chanae doesn't shoot threes, AT doesn't shoot threes. But analytically, when you really look at some of the statistics behind the curtain, we were really productive with those lineups. We were really productive with AT and Chanae on the floor at times, and neither one of those two are three-point shooters. I think as a staff, do a tremendous job of putting players in position to be successful, and we believe spacing is offense and offense is spacing. And so even with that, it's our job to find ways to continue to create the space that they'll be successful. And I think we'll be the same with Christine.
And we all know JJ really just wants to stand out and shoot threes, right?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
6'6",
6'2" guard.
6'6", guard.
She's pretty darn good at it.
Yeah. If she's the second best three-point shooter in the league again, we won't complain.
Hi, always wondered how the refs are evaluated for their, relative to their skill set or lack thereof.
I don't know for sure how that all goes behind the scenes, but there is a process in place with some amazing people. There's Hall of Fame. Some of the most famous Hall of Fame men's NBA officials are consultants, and they're assigned games every night. So not only do our management in the WNBA office evaluate each game, there is a consultant of 5 or 6 former NBA officials, Hall of Fame officials, the Joey Crawfords, all those kind of names that are evaluating our officials on a nightly basis.
He's so calm about it right now. Right? I can't wait till May 25th.
Is the WNBA ever going to get a president?
Yes, it's coming. The search is on. That's what we're being told. So
Yeah, it's been on for a year now, hasn't it?
yeah. You want to get the right person.
I'll take it.
Yep. Sold.
Keeping with the ref issue, is it true they really do makeup calls?
We're going to have to put a collection bucket in the back
Yeah.
for the fine that Kurt's going to get for answering these questions.
No, there isn't, but there's a human element. There's a human element to officiating, and they're human, and that's why you think home crowds and these incredible crowds, and that sometimes home teams get more calls. I'm not sure that's how that's been really, really analytically studied, but there's a human element when you have 7,000 people, getting ready to boo you on a really difficult 50-50 call. Is it a charge? Is it a block? And there's 7,000 fans getting ready to have an opinion on this. So, I mean, there's a human element. There's no doubt. And these guys do such a tremendous job of getting it right the majority of the time. But, coaches are perfectionists, so we're obviously in their ears a lot, reminding them that they're not perfect at times. So.
On the ref question, not to get you into more trouble, but here at the Sun, you have so many fans who are knowledgeable about basketball. But we had someone in the stands with us watching the game who was an official. And he said, that call, the ref got it right. The crowd is wrong. And he explained that the rules are kind of complicated, and what had happened was not an infraction or vice versa. I don't remember which way. And I was just thinking, is there some way to help the fans understand some of the calls that we think are so bizarre?
Yeah, I think the officials are trying to do more and more clinics. And get out that are open to fan bases. Now, some of those nights are brutal on them, but they're trying to do clinics in the WNBA towns and open it up to fans if they want to come. And they got to put up with 10 times the amount of questions we're getting on officials. But they're trying to have more interaction and doing a good job trying to educate.
Did Dee Cantner ever speak to the fans? Okay, so we can try to do something like that again. That's a good point.
Questions about AT. We know she's having a good season this year overseas. How well is her shoulder holding up, for one? Because I know she talked before that she may needs surgery, but she keeps taping it up further and further? And 2, can she shoot a free throw yet?
Yeah.
Consistently.
Well, we were, like she changed last year to right-handed, and I just think, the more practice that she's going to do that way, I think she's more and more comfortable. Absolutely having an unbelievable year. I need everybody to knock on wood. That shoulder, there's no doubt at some point probably needs surgically repaired. And we all know that. But she's so competitive, and she's such a good teammate that if she can be healthy and feel good and not be in constant pain, she will give it a go. But we all know someday, that will happen for AT as anyone around the league. And the scary part about the WNBA is the bean counting that goes on, and they're making this money here or they're making that money there. No matter how much they love their teammates, you get concerned as the WNBA team that if there has to be some time off, when those decisions will be made. Right now, we anticipate AT is going to be fine going into this season. It's just having a great year, but that's why we can't wait for these guys to get home and her to stay healthy. And she's going up against Stewart in this unbelievable series, unbelievable competitive series, and we just want AT to get home healthy. Good question, though, and good insight. I'm not sure everyone realizes what AT does on a nightly basis. There's not a more physical player in the league, and she takes a beating, doesn't get a lot of calls, and if you guys knew what she plays through with her shoulder, it's so commendable.
I want this T-shirt.
Yeah. I was looking at your hat. I'm a Kansas City. Oh no, I thought that was a Patriots hat. So it is okay. I'm a Kansas City fan. So the hat I'm not caring much for, but the T-shirt is amazing. This is one of our merch items. Stand up, turn around, show the crowd. It says Alyssa freaking Thomas. Right? Will be available at your merch stand because we love her so much.
Anything in particular? Come on. About the draft? About trades? Yes?
Aren't given out until after the camp for the players who ended up on the team.
Yeah. Yes. They are paid through training camp, but obviously if they're waived, if they're not a guaranteed player, their contract then it ends immediately if someone does not make the team or is waived. Each team around the league can have a maximum of 6. Each team can have a maximum of 6 guaranteed contracts if they chose to, and it can fit into a hard salary cap. So we have a hard salary cap number that we have to fit our 12 players under. Every once in a while, you'll see a team carry 11 because they can't fit a 12th player under that hard cap amount. So not only do you try to put together the best 12 players on your team, it is also a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle that you got to fit the best 12 players that you can get within the salary cap that is available. And we have 5 players currently under a guaranteed contract.
Speaking of that, we have 5 players that are coming off into their 4th year.
Now we're getting to where we need to talk about.
And I guess I'd just like you to talk about that a little bit, what that could mean going forward.
Yeah, it's a great question, and the big question for our organization into this offseason was, do we push our chips in, love our roster, know how we've done in the last 2 regular seasons, and how close we've been to getting over the hump with the Phoenix series is in the second round. Are we close? And we've done that a little bit different ways. If you look, in 17, we finished in the top 4 in the league, and Chennai missed the whole year. In 18, we did that and stayed in the top 4. And Alyssa Thomas missed 11 games in the middle of the season. Courtney missed 4 games. And then we had that Chanae minor injury, which she did not finish the season at 100% or into the playoffs, wasn't 100%. We were still a top 4 team. So we feel like we've been close. But the dilemma for us right now is we have 5 members of the 2016 draft class on our team. 5 out of the top 12 first-round picks in the 2016 draft class. You're considered under a rookie contract for 4 years. They are all going to be coming off of their rookie contracts at the end of the year. They will become restricted free agents, meaning we have the ability to match. But, again, there's nothing stopping a team from throwing a big dollar amount at someone and giving them a guarantee, and we have to figure out, that we may only have 6 guaranteed contracts. Can we match or can't we? And so the decision going into this offseason was, do we start to move some players now to plan for the 2020 season to have possibly less change? Or do we push our chips in, love our roster, know we're close, and we've been dedicated to letting this core group grow, learn, and build together and give them another shot before we know in 2020 there's going to have to be some changes. And as you see, at the current moment, as we sit here tonight, we haven't made many changes with that core group and pushed our chips in. That doesn't mean something can't happen from now until training camp in 3 weeks. But right now our chips are in. We love this group. We've loved allowing them to grow, build, and bond together and know that we are close and, could this be our year? And so those are the decisions that we have to make. So coming in that 2016 draft class, Morgan Tuck, Rachel Bannum, JJ, Courtney Williams, and Bria Holmes will all come off a contract at the end of this season. And trying to get all 5 of them back won't be the easiest thing, and we know that.
Okay, so was there another question? Oh, in the back.
I have one. How many cuts do you anticipate making that you'd have to make?
We'll have to get down to 12. So
how many we have in
we
camp?
can only have 15 in camp at one time. Now, that doesn't mean if 3 players are late. So if Alyssa Thomas and Jasmine Thomas and let's say JJ are slightly late, we might filter 18 people through camp at some point to always have 15 in camp to run a productive and competitive camp. So we ultimately have to get down to 12, depending on how many we put through camp. In that scenario, we could cut as many as 6, to give you the math.
Do you plan to waive the extra players or suspend them? Say you got 16 good players. How many can you waive and how many can you suspend?
You can only suspend a player if they're not going to play either for the whole season, and that's a suspension. Could be an injury, could be someone's taking the year off. Or you could temporarily suspend, so they would miss part of the season, but you then leave the opportunity to bring them back. And again, that could be an injury or something's preventing them from playing part of the season, and you can temporarily suspend. Other than those conditions, you are waiving players. You just can't say, hey, we want to suspend you because we like you. It doesn't work that way. Yeah.
Okay, so let's close it out. 2 questions, 2-part question. So last year was how many days? He'll know these stats right off the top of his head. How many days was the season last year?
We played 34 games in just over 90 days, 93.
Okay. And this year is how long?
We're in the mid 100s.
Okay.
So we're nearly 10 to 2 weeks longer this year.
Okay. So share with them, I think a fascinating stat is when you have those days to prepare and practice, how that improves the record.
Yeah. You help me out here. we did this analytic breakdown because we're very scout heavy. I'm a big believer in scouting. I'm a big believer in we're scout heavy. And so our record when we have equal amount of prep as the opponent going into the game has been really, really, really solid. I mean, we win the majority of the time. When we have more days of prep for a game than our opponent, our winning percentage is crazy on those nights. Like a lot, our percentage is lower when we have less days of preparation than our opponent. But the big one is when we have equal amount of days to prep, our record since we've arrived is outstanding. And it's a credit to our players buying into preparation and the film work and game planning. And they've really bought into that. It's a great question, and I didn't look
No,
back at
I got
it.
him. I got him.
But you got me. I normally would know those statistics, but we're really proud of that, and we sell that because of our scouting philosophy is so important.
And I bring that up. He's giving the players credit for buying in, but again, it's a testament to the work that this group puts in day in and day out to prepare the players, to give them those film clips on their phone that they can look at, whether it's a small nugget or a bigger breakdown of the teams. I think it just really speaks to the level of coaching that we have sitting on this stage right now, and how fortunate we are to have this group because they really do work tirelessly, and that extra prep is really helpful. So excited to have those extra days, not only rest for the players, but more time to get ready.
Yeah, I will tell you, we're so blessed to be able to play in front of an amazing fan base, and we equaled the #1 home court record last year in the league. We tied for the best home record. That is huge in part to you guys and the motivation that you give to our players and the support that you give to our players. And we can't have the success in the regular season without a great home court winning percentage. And so when we had the best, equaling the best home court record last year, a lot of that credit goes to you. So give yourselves a hand, you guys. That's really, really important. I bring that up this year because unlike last year, we had a fantastic August schedule-wise. And we knew when we were in contention that we had the benefit of having a ton of games down the stretch at home in August. And we won 9 of our last 10 regular season games and had that momentum going into the playoffs. This year, our August is brutally tough on the road. Our August, we have 2 West Coast road trips in August. And so August is very, very difficult. It magnifies our start even more. It magnifies how important June and early July are. And so we need your support out of the gate so much because that will tell a big part ultimately of where we finish in the regular season, because our August is very, very difficult on the road. So getting off to a good start and having your support early in the end of May, June, and the early part of July is going to be very important.
Yeah, and just to peek behind the curtain on the business side, early in the summer, when you're looking at late May into mid-June, when the kids aren't out of school yet, it's harder for, families to come out on those weeknights. So, it really is magnified when you guys are there and supporting us on those Tuesday night, Wednesday nights in early June. And we do have more of those than we've had in the last couple of years. And certainly we're so proud to have all these nationally televised games at home to be able to show you guys off. Because I'm bragging about you all the time when I go to the meetings. So, that only helps us on the court, but certainly it's exciting to be able to showcase the support we do have here on a regular basis.
I'm gonna moan because we're so excited about those nationally televised games, and we got the schedule, and we're on ABC. I mean, we get to showcase so exciting, and I think we fly back and have about 8 hours to prepare from Alaska to play Seattle on ABC that day. I don't know where we're coming from, but they gave us a whopping 8 hours to prepare for that game. So we need all the help we can get on that ABC game because we don't have any preparation, you know, and it's just Sue and Stewie and all those guys walking in here, and they're going to be here staying in the hotel, and we're going to be coming from somewhere far away. So that's my complaint for the night. So we need you so much that night against ABC.
In my 3 years, he's never liked the schedule. I'm just going to say that.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. Any final questions? Oh, two popped up back here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's an interesting evolution in basketball, and I will preface that we're the #1 rebounding team in the league. So we can always be better, but we are the #1 rebounding team in the league. With that said, there's so much evolution of not giving up transition points and forcing teams to play against a set defense that more and more teams in men's and women's basketball don't attack the offensive glass and get back and feel it's more important statistically, again, analytically driven changes in our game, that it's more important to have a set defense and make teams score against a set defense than the occasional offensive rebound that you could gain that some teams purposely do not attack, follow shots, attack the offensive glass like they once did. And again, it's an evolution, it's a little bit analytically driven, but still offensive rebounding, kick out to the threes is also statistically the most made three-point shot in the game is after an offensive rebound. So, you know, we all still want to get extra possessions. At the same time, we're all wired now to want offenses to play against your set defense. It's good observation, though.
Just to go back to your fan base, I sit in section 14, and across the way is Mr. Estes. He is the most exciting to watch. Sometimes I watch him more than I watch the game because I've never seen anybody get so excited about a game. He's just really fun to watch.
Need to make sure we get him on the cams.
We have to keep him away from officials, so that's why he's up there. They get mad enough at me. We don't need the president and CEO of getting too mad.
Okay, well, thank you guys for coming. I'm going to say one more thing, and I'm going to embarrass her. Beth Reagan is sitting down here in front. Is there anybody else from the Tribal Council or the Council of Elders here tonight? Just Beth. Okay, Beth, just wave. Beth is a season ticket holder. Do all of you remember the video that we shot leading into the playoff game last year with the women of the Mohegan tribe? That was one of the most powerful things that I have ever been a part of, and I just feel so very blessed that we have the support from the Mohegan tribe. This franchise would not be here without the support that we get. And day in and day out, Beth, Kathy, Cheryl, Kevin Brown, all of them are constantly checking in to make sure we have what we need to make sure our players, our coaches, our fans are having the best experience possible. And it's absolutely not possible for any of us to do what we do on a daily basis without the support of the tribe. So Beth, thank you. Please pass that along. Give them a round of applause. Okay, so in the back, you have your very handsome and beautiful account executive team. Wave, stand and wave. If you have not met your person, make sure you meet your person tonight if you can. If you don't know who your person is, please stop and we'll make sure that you get in contact with them. That's an important go-to for tickets, questions, whatever you need. If we don't have your email address, make sure we have your email address. We're communicating with you consistently about things going on via email. Social media, if it's Facebook, there's our social media guy right on cue. Tyler, stand up. He's constantly tweeting and posting and Instagramming and whatever he else, Twittering, whatever he's doing in the world to keep you informed. So take advantage of all those things. But if you're not getting that information, let us know. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. We'll see you on May 13th.
Thank you.